So today I'm going to show you how to laser engrave stud earrings. And this works for all flat earrings, and I have made a very simple jig. And actually I have a video, I filmed how I made it. Some of the videos out there suggest using putty or something soft material that you can actually just plug in your stud, just stick it in. The problem with that is when it's a soft material, you'll never get two exactly in the same position. It becomes difficult or it tilts. So having a hard, very simple wood works very well. And in this case, it's just a piece of lumber that I got, and it is perhaps 1 1/4 inch by less than an inch. There are all sorts of others already made, cut in 90-degree angle, inexpensive. This was leftover, and I drilled into it. Again, I'm going to leave more information, a link to the video that I filmed. So all it is we're going to put this in here, and we are going to laser engrave on this. Today, I'm going to be using the XTool Studio. This method works for all earrings, and also you can use the older version for XTool software. It works either way, but we're going to use something new, and I'm going to show you in detail with screen recording so that you know the functions, and I hope that you can learn something from that, as well as know what is the perfect setting for sterling silver. So I hope I'm going to start from the beginning. So we have opened the app, and what we're going to do is press new project. Now here it is already connected. If your device is not connected, you will have to press these buttons, and this works for all your other XTool engravers. Here I'm ready, there's a green button. And because you're adding the height of this on top, we're going to focus because it is going to be higher. And we put this on top here with a photo. What I like to do is have the laser, the dots, right on top of the silver. And then what I'm going to do is press that button, the little ruler, which shows to measurement. Sometimes because it's sterling silver and there is a reflective surface, a really shiny surface, it might not work. If it doesn't and it's struggling, what you can do is use a very fine piece of paper and just put it right on top. This really doesn't add much height to it. The surface is great. I'm going to move it across just to the end. And actually what I'm going to do is take another photo so you can see everything is very clear. What I like to do before I do anything else is to enlarge the surface so I can see, because dealing with jewelry, it's really itty bitty. Depending on the device you're using, I am using a Mac and I'm not using a mouse. All I do is a 2-finger increase, and then I slide over. You can also use a little scale down here. So this is a pro tip to make sure the alignment is perfect, because oftentimes you have things that are really small. Using the framing tool, what we're going to do is create the size that is exactly like your item. And what I'm going to do is select here the circle tool, just drag, and then up top, the ruler, I actually type in the size. So it's 4.6. And you can use a caliper to measure exactly the size of your item. Make sure the aspect ratio is not locked. So then we have 4.6. And what we're going to do is drag on top as much as we can. Just know that the camera is slightly off. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to demonstrate for you the framing. But what it is you can have an option of square, rectangle, or the outline of the item. So what we're going to do is select outline. It's easier to see. I'm going to now frame, and you see it is not perfectly on, even though it says that it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop framing, and I am going to move it up slightly, and I'm going to try the same thing again. And you can see that is almost identical. And I can go on either side to see if it is slightly off. I'm going to stop framing. When it is really difficult to do, I'm going to use the ruler and I'm going to move it with the letters. I'm going to put in higher, okay, and I'm going to frame again. And that looks really good. If you're not sure, you can make this slightly smaller, the circle, so that you can see the distance on either side of the edge. We are going to make it smaller just a wee bit so that it will be all on the surface. And you can see that looks very good. It's easier for you to see. Perfect. So we're going to stop this. Now that we know for sure that it is well positioned, it is not exactly center. That is a really good indicator that the camera does not work exactly because it's not right over the laser head, but it's very close. What that circle is, it's a guide. Now we are ready to put in a text. So what we're going to do now is click on the text tool and then click on the surface. It defaults to hello and a huge font. Font size is 72, but let's put 5 point. I'm going to click on the surface and then now it takes it there. The other thing is it's hard to see because it is score, but once you put engrave, it is solid and you can see it. I think I'm going to put in my youngest daughter's name, Cedar. Cedar only has 5 letters. Sometimes you have longer letters and messages. You want to select a font that is narrow and long if you have lots of letters. Here, you click on the Lato, then you get all the fonts. I think I'm going to use, I saw Barlow condensed. It's simple, not too thick. I've selected that and we're good to go. You double click on the screen and that sidebar disappears. I'm gonna select it and then drag, okay? I'm gonna click on that. It is a bit big, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it smaller. And when you double click and drag it, if I go this way, it's still centered, those guidelines pop up. So now I know for sure it is exactly centered in the circle. And you can change it whichever way you want, but this helps a lot. On the side, you'll see settings overview. There are 2 layers. I'm gonna click on Cedar. Before you go any further, deselect the output. That was just for a guide. You wanna make sure you don't forget and then it engraves a circle. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to frame it and I know that it will be centered. And now we are ready to select the engraving settings. Select that part and in the corner, just below process on flat surface, you click on it. It says unknown material. You can click on 925 silver. And actually, I'm going to do that so you can see what happens. It says here, power is 75, speed is 500, and lines per cm is 200. You can do all sorts of different settings you wish. What I have found is that sometimes it's the default settings that they've got for silver over brass or over stainless steel, and it doesn't really work. And sometimes when it is so fine like this, what you want is heavier power for metals like sterling silver and solid gold. You want faster speed because the slower it is, the more it melts. So you're not going to get crisp lines, I have found. Slower speed compensates a little bit for power. I have found that higher power, faster, more lines per centimeter is great. So when it is a thick item and you don't have as many lines per centimeter, it gets pixelated. So what we're gonna do is we are going to use my settings, which you can try it out. But what it is the power is 100 and I wanna go fast. Instead of dragging the bar, I'm gonna type it in. It's 1,000 millimeters per second. And lines per centimeter, I prefer 300. In this case, we're gonna do 2 passes and then we're gonna see if we want to do more passes as we see the results. So that is what we're gonna do. And then what I'm about to do is hit process. It comes with a warning for you to lower the screen. Make sure you do that. In the corner, it says that it's actually going to take only 1 second. I'm gonna press start and there will be a warning that it is ready. Now we're gonna hit the green button and it will engrave. Okay, that charred look, that is just oxidation from the burn. Don't worry about it. You can actually clean it out with alcohol. Let's go do some cleaning up. And how I do that is I go back, I use, instead of 100, I use 30% power, and then I'm just gonna do 1 go. So I'm gonna process it, start, and here we go. You see how much it brightens that? And we're very happy with it. And all I have to do now is use alcohol to clean it. Okay, so There is oxidation. I have a Q-tip with a bit of hand sanitizer. You can use alcohol wipe. So now it looks really clean. So now I'm ready to do the next one. It is super easy. I have the template. I'm going to save the file. All I have to do is move it in there and do the framing check, and away we go. It is going to be very, very easy. Here it is. When you try to exit, it will ask you to save. I'm going to save locally into downloads, and I'm going to call it Cedar Stud Earrings. Or you can name it whatever size earrings so that in the future you can have it. So that's my next project. I did something similar with sleigh. So in the future, say for example, you close everything, but you open up again, you can just go back to your original thing, and it has all the settings. What I'm gonna do is, this is a blank one, I'll show you. Okay, I'm gonna move it in and do it again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and take a look again. We go back to Cedar. I'm gonna make it bigger. And all you have to do is double click and you can change it to some other word and you have that in production. I hope you enjoyed that video. Actually, it takes literally a second to engrave, and I slowed it down for you to show you the jig and how this works. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. Please actually comment in the comment section whether or not you like the speed and tempo of this, and what else you would like me to film making.